I was not surprised that I was a connector, but I didn't resonate until I properly read through everything. I'm like quite an introvert. I'm I'm one of those outgoing introverts. Like the idea of like making connections is a bit kind of like, oh God, but once you get me in my flow, I'm that kind of connector, which is very much about sharing information. It's about teaching. It's about, giving you the best of what I have to offer. Um, yeah, but I think to begin with, I was like, really? Connector? I'm terrible at networking. I always stand on the side of the room and I take the room in. And then when I've read the room, I kind of jump in. So definitely with the alchemist and the nurturer, I see how it all works together. So I never really think of myself as being like top of the triangle connector.
Well, I'll just be completely open and honest and say I was pissed off when I discovered I was a connector, because I wanted to be a maverick or a ruler or something like that, one of the cool ones. But really, it's me to a T. There's a couple of things that are probably very subtle with me, but I'm a connector through and through. And like Carrie, I'm the same. I don't enjoy networking. So I was like, how can that be me? I hold back and I read the room, and then I go for the connections that feel right. And it also shows up in how I, like everything I've ever done, basically every conversation I've ever had in corporate, I was counseling people and connecting them with a solution, a way to make them feel better. So yeah, it is totally me. Damn it.
It was definitely a surprise to also even a space of denial that I just didn't see it. It was kind of like I couldn't see the forest from the trees. I felt honestly as I dug deeper and learned more about it, but it was a surprise. I wanted to be a ruler, or I wanted to be the other archetypes that I felt seemed to be more money savvy or could call in and bring in money in the ways that I don't typically. And so it definitely was a surprise and a little bit of I don't really know if I want that one to be mine. And so I really do like my romantic. That's my second one. So I kind of like to play into that more because it felt fun and light and airy. And I, for a while, was just really wanting to learn more about that. And it wasn't until I acknowledged more of my connectedness and connector ability, though, that things actually did start to flow through in that way also. So it was definitely a surprise.
So when I'm not surprised I was a connector. I was surprised at the negative parts of the connector. In fact, you know what, you girls, I kept these cards. Remember that? And I've just found them. I was so proud of myself that I had actually kept them. But I had a lot of actually shame around the fact that good things, with the romantic and the connector, that they depend on someone for financial dependence. And certainly that's the way I was raised, and that lack of completely financial dependence. And actually, I would say it even tripped me up a lot. I kept taking the test because I was like, surely that can't be it, because I'm working so hard at being these other things. But this is why it's actually fun to kind of have the full-blown version where you can actually read and see what your attributes are. And interestingly, as we move forward in the conversation, as I reread these, because I haven't visited this in a while, I was surprised at what I have worked past in being some of the traits of I deserve this, because I don't feel that anymore. I'm not going at this with the same amount of shame. But that was my initial reaction, was I don't want that to be me.
Yeah, I guess I was not surprised that I'm a connector, because I really am all about relationships and all about that thing of sharing information. There's like 5 seconds between the moment I learn something and the moment I'm teaching it. I've taught so many very different things in my life, and I just love sharing information and fitting people with like what they need, the solution they need. And I'm always like counseling everybody. And then when I kept going into the connector thing and saw the thing about the money, well, yeah, it kind of describes me. So I'm never really dependent on anyone, but never really totally independent. Somehow just making it happen. I'm not sure exactly how. So yeah, but also I'm a shy extrovert. I'm not so good with a lot of people, but very good one-on-one. And some moments I just become like the center, which is kind of weird. Just like someday I'll go and just make everyone laugh. Everybody's talking to me, da da da. And then the next day I'm not like, reading a book, not even looking up.
For me, it's connector, alchemist, and then ruler kind of a little bit below. Oh yeah, definitely see. I definitely see all of these, and I've been fascinated by how they work together and sort of like pull on each other. So definitely with that connector alchemist, with like both of them being so high, um, the tendency to just like not care about money. I don't need to think about that. I mean, absolutely. This is something that I've gotten much better at. Definitely work in progress, but gotten much better at because of Money Bootcamp and SMA, like all of these things, like going, okay, yes, let's look at this and let's create some systems around it. But that natural tendency, like all through my 20s, for sure, it was very much like money was not a thought in my mind, really, like managing it at all. And just that belief that it will always be there is great. And I think I really see, I especially kind of in my late 20s, early 30s, I saw that double-edged sword thing play out, because then it's like when some kind of like emergency would happen, and it was like, I didn't have as much access to my magic. Almost, it felt like it's like, whoa, all of a sudden everything's a bit of a mess, if that makes sense. And so really going, oh, okay, maybe let me like pay a little bit more attention, or a lot more attention. But something that also was interesting when I started, not in Money Bootcamp, before Money Bootcamp, when I kind of started looking at money through like some other programs and things, I all of a sudden realized that I wasn't looking at my money, like I wasn't caring about it. And I became aware of that. And then I almost became like ashamed of that. And then it was almost like I totally leaned away from my alchemist, the part of me that could just create money, because it was like, no, that's not real. That's juvenile. That's too magical. Like, no, you need to understand where it's coming from. And then I actually think I started leaning more into like the ruler part of me that's like, I need to be empowered. I need to work for this, like, which there is a very natural part of me that can kind of like just do the thing, but it's not actually the highest part of me. I think it's good that it's in the mix and it helps. But what I noticed was a pendulum swing to then where it's like, no, I just need to work on this. I just need to like build my empire. And then I wasn't connecting with people because it's like, no, I need to focus. I need to work. And I started to see like things aren't flowing. And so when I really dove into this work, I started to understand it's like, no, because yes, it's good to pay attention to the money. It's good to build your empire, whatever, but my superpower is in the connection. So I have to have that. And when I connect, what I've realized is connecting to other people and really building really genuine relationships for the sake of building genuine relationships is what creates, it's like the channel to the alchemist. It's the channel to money just coming in, opportunities just coming in that then turn into money. So that's kind of like how I see that trifecta playing out for me. And it's been so powerful to just have this understanding so I can go when things aren't as in flow, what is it that I need to lean into? Am I cutting off my connector? Am I cutting off my alchemist? Or do I actually need to bring in a little bit more of that ruler for a phase, So yeah, this has been just mind-blowing.
I relate so much to what Stacey just said. In terms of that's where I'm at in finding the fun again in my business and in trying to follow all those processes and stuff. It's just killed my vibe. And just now, actually, as I started surrendering and even letting go of the outcome and of the money goal and just doing it for the process and enjoying, things started coming. Like just a few days, I got invited to the roundtable, and then another invitation to webinar came in. I was like, oh my God, this is me. This is my life. Things come to me. Like it's happening again. And yeah, SMA definitely changed my life, and I'm changing my business model. And so when I in the first live of SMA last year, when I joined, was just at the time I was finishing my beta version of a course that I was just launching. So I was, while my romantic was having a course out there and then running on passive and the passive income thing, then I realized, well, two things. My romantic wasn't happy, like the lifetime access model that my mentor was encouraging us was like, a lifetime. What does that mean? I cannot commit for my lifetime. I love what I do, and it was weekly calls as well, and the weekly calls, even bi-monthly. I made them bi-monthly even for my beta, because weekly was just too much for my romantic, and even that bi-monthly was too much. But what I realized is that my other archetypes, nurturer and connector, weren't happy because people were not joining the call so much. They did the work, but I didn't get to be there with them. So, and then I started contracting for this company, doing one-on-one for corporate. And then I realized, oh my God, one-on-one, I love one-on-one. I just have to show up in there. I don't have to prepare for anything, no course to record, no funnels or so whatsoever. I just need to show up for the one-on-one, and then it's done. So I'm swapping definitely to one-on-one and high tickets one-on-one, because it just feels so aligned. My romantic is happy because I don't have to prepare anything. I'm keeping myself very mindful of not over promising to send things after the call. That's definitely thanks to SMA. I would always, like, being a nurturer and connector, just overcommit, being in the energy in the moment to doing things after and sending things, and then just never bother and procrastinate for 2 weeks before doing it. So now I'm being mindful of that before I promise anything. And really, yeah, that's been really I think the main change in my business model, and just taking completely other turn, not excluding putting up a group coaching program at some point, but running completely passive, like more easily than that. And for now, I just cannot deal with another launch. Like, I love it, just putting content out there as I feel it and having people come in, and yeah, no official launch with a deadline, to have a certain number of clients with a deadline. That's putting me off now. I can't deal with that. I had a bad experience.
I find that I end up like in a perfect storm of connector, alchemist, nurturer. And you're like so geared for helping, so geared for teaching, so geared for like trying to give everything what they need, and then you end up with really sloppy time boundaries because you just need to give it more, and then you don't want to be paid, and you're just like, whew. One of my friends is I think actually Denise, you might see her tomorrow, Kate Arbuckle. She is a massive accumulator maverick, and she's like, Harry, stop burning down the barn and giving it all away for free. You've already created something awesome. Turn it into a passive income and then move on with your life. Stop making a new thing before you finish the first thing. And I'm like, but I like it. I want to do it. I want to help everyone.
Because as a connector, there's that thing where kind of like everybody becomes your friend, right? So he would in the beginning like kind of look at me like, why are you charging our friends to work with you? Like, what are you doing? And I know that the reason I do that is because there's actually a tendency to not want to charge my friends. So I really had to have a moment of being like, but the thing is, everyone becomes my friend. I have tons of clients that are friends and friends that are clients. Like it's like this very reciprocal relationship, and it just does this. And so it came to like, if I don't charge my friends, I won't have a business because I'll just be doing this work for free for everyone. And when I explained that to him through the lens of the archetypes, he got it. And he wasn't like uncomfortable with that anymore. So it's like released some tension in our relationship because, you know, these are like his friends too, like people who are close to him. If they want to work with me, then I charge them. Sometimes I offer them like a little deal or whatever, but you know, it's still, we're still gonna, you know, have business happening. So I think it's just created more ease for us.
I was gonna say, for me, it shows up that I hear often people say, you give away so much free content. Like I'm constantly just putting out great, amazing content, and I will have accumulated friends or other people saying, what are you doing here? And I'm like, oh, I'm just sharing, I'm just talking, I'm just posting, I'm just doing what feels comfortable and what feels natural, what feels good. And I'm connecting, right? I'm connecting information, ideas, people, concepts. I'm doing all of that. And there are times though that I'm becoming much more aware of it. And I'm choosing to say, okay, I that is my gift. And I am here to receive, you know, more value, more income from this. And so that's part of been what my growth and shift has been, of allowing myself to learn when I can share content without just overloading the content, and actually they're creating a masterclass out of it and charging people to come in and do that. And that has been like this aha that I've been stepping into more and more, and just yeah, because otherwise I'm like, well, sure, everybody, you want to hear it? I'm here to give you, sure. and then later I'm like, but I really would like some actual income from this too. So that's been part of my process.
So this is an interesting question. In the Smart Creative Women, when I had that podcast, I actually got burnt out doing it and had to pull the plug on it because I was posting and giving and had not figured out how to monetize it. I didn't know how to monetize it. I did e-courses, I did coaching, and I was doing 3 podcasts a week. And so it was just like, I wish I would have gone in with a plan of how to make money, but I had positioned it as, let's gather everybody together and be friends. And it's a coffee table roundabout. And then, you know, but I know nobody was paying me. And how it shows up now as an artist. So this is several years later. And it's a good question to ask myself now, because I've taken myself out of that role, but I still have all the followers, and I have very expensive art, $4,000 or $5,000 down to, oh, well, what can they afford? And I just recently did something that was very off brand for me. And I did these small watercolors and charged $25 for them. And these, some of my other art friends were like, well, of course you sold out. And I knew it was not in the right price point, but I felt like, oh, they've been following me for so long, they're on my newsletter, let me just do something they can afford. So I feel like I'm assigning people what I think they can afford versus being aspirational. So and even at $200, $300, $400, save up and have my art on your wall. So that's how it's affecting me now. And it's really actually I'm wrestling with it.
Yeah. How is it showing up in my business? I'm just counseling everybody because it's so useful. I'm just teaching everybody about eyesight improvement, solving everybody's problem in like basically all walks of life, all camps, all, you know, everything everybody needs. But none of these people are paying me. I'm not sure why. I mean, there are some people who are paying me, but I spend a lot of time solving everybody's problems. But actually, you know what? It's something that I love to do. It's something that I really love about my life, that I can spend hours and hours talking to, you know, whoever about whatever. And it's really interesting for me. Like the guy who's doing his PhD about ancient coins, and nobody wants to talk to him. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is so interesting. Ancient coins. I helped a friend of mine write his thesis in mathematics. I don't know anything about it, but you know, he needed a writer, and it was like so interesting for me. I was like, oh, fractals, that's awesome. And for like a very short while, I knew, you know, quite a bit about fractals. It's all gone now, but and I just do all these things, and I'm kind of thankful and grateful to myself for taking the time to do these things, although financially they're not very good decisions because it's a lot of time, usually just volunteering to do these things. And yeah, I guess it would be nice to have some money, but you know, as the, as the personality thing says, it all somehow magically works out.
I think how it's helped me is to just embrace all of me, all the different parts of me, because up until discovering SMA, I was thinking more along the lines of like, okay, I'm a Libra, but I don't really resonate with all of the Libra because it's so one-dimensional. But understanding my connector traits and then the other underlying ones, it's the whole package. And that has really helped me to just grow as a person, to improve my relationship with my family. As soon as I started talking about this stuff, my kids, they started talking about it too. And I'm pretty sure my oldest is a maverick because he refuses to take the test. So yeah, just understanding more about myself, I've definitely become a better person, a better coach, better with money. Like I love the I am money visualization. It's expanded so much from my first impression of it. Yeah, just connecting with possibilities.
For me, it really started first even within my household and learning my archetype and then learning my husband's, who's an accumulator first and foremost, and me and my romantic and connector self. It was so enlightening in our relationship, and it explained so much, and it assisted with so much for both of us to understand this and see where we were coming from after it's been now 30 years of marriage, and we did this a few years ago. So it was really helpful. That I think was the very first step. And then now being able to see it in my business, like I said, when I made the awareness that as a channel and as a guide, I am really leaning into my connector abilities. And it always felt so easy and almost too easy, similar to what Monica had said, that I thought it was almost too easy for this to be the thing that I could actually now create a business around. So having that awareness was also really enlightening, and leaning into that and allowing the ease of my connector abilities to actually lead the way for income and money, and allowing more and more to come in.
So, are you a ruler, a connector, or a maverick? Hang on, maybe you're more of a romantic or a celebrity. Take the money personality quiz right now and find out which of the 8 money archetypes you are. And then I'm going to teach you how to profit from your strengths and make money in your business based on your natural personality. Click below and find out more.